Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. I'm here. It's Thursday, the 18th of June. It's 11 a.m. and I'm here with a topic that I've called Too Busy to Look After Yourself. It might not be a time thing. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. It probably sounds a bit abstract, but I am going to get into it and explain it further. I am a PT, like more of a rehab specialist. So I'm going to be talking probably mostly about exercise related examples, but that's not to say that this stuff doesn't apply across the board in other areas of our lives, and it might show up. As I'm talking, you might think about it, might occur to you. So let's get into it, shall we? Sometimes we say it a lot, don't we? We're too busy, we can't do things. There are a lot of things that we might want to achieve or have thoughts or have ideas about that we want to do and never quite get round to or mean to do. So some of those things might be, just to give you some inspiration, because let's face it, this is a bit cold and you might have been in the middle of doing something else and you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about. So have a little, what are the things that you want to do? What are the things on your list to give you some ideas? For me, I would love to get a 35 kilo snatch. That might not mean much to a lot of you. It is a Olympic weightlifting thing. No, I'm not an Olympian. And it's to get 2 10 plates on the bar and be able to throw it above my head and catch it in one go. Will I get there? Who knows? What do I need to do to get there? That's what we talk about. Other things, and I do have some notes that I will be referring to. I'm not cheating, just supporting myself. To some of my clients, for example, I'm going to use them. Some of their things are that they want to look after themselves as they age. Some people come to me and ask me how often they should train, and they kind of arbitrarily have this idea in their head that maybe they want to train, or sometimes we just feel like we need to train more. So I'm going to put a number on it, and some people say they want to train 3 to 4 times per week. Whatever. Some people are recovering from surgery and want to be able to move like they never actually have before, or not for a long time. One of my clients is preparing to walk a half marathon. It's a social one. There's wine and cheese involved, but still, half marathon walking. It's a commitment, isn't it? Another one is preparing for surgery. And some people, and this leads me into my story, is there's some people, we want a stronger core, right? The physio might have told us, a physio has told me we might have a weakness, we might have a lower back issue. For me, when I squat, I need to have a stronger core, other physio reasons. And so core is quite a broad one, isn't it? And then we kind of go to Pilates. I'm not poo-pooing Pilates at all, but we go to Pilates and we think, somewhere along the line, it's doing something. And it might be, and some people do appreciate, do get value from it. But sometimes even when you go, like you can be going for weeks and weeks and actually not really notice whether it's better or worse. It will be better for sure. You just might not have noticed it. So it's all very well that we want these things, and that's great. Sometimes when we go to get them, there are things that we have to do to get there, and there can be a bit of a gap. And so, I want a stronger core, for instance, and I've been told what to do, and I'm a PT. I know what to do core exercises. I could reel them off to you. Do I do them? No, I don't. I'm not alone. I do them maybe sometimes. There are other things that I do. It kind of works. Anyway, sometimes we get given exercises to do from a physio. Great. And in the first instance, often a bit of enthusiasm. Right, I'm really going to do this. I'm going to do it. And you do it. Some people do it for a couple of days and think they've done well. Some people do it for a couple of weeks. If you're me, you might even do it for 2 months and you're really super keen and committed and you're all over it. At some point, the pain isn't quite as strong. You're sort of all right. You're getting by, and then this, you're like, oh, I don't really need to do them. And this gap kind of appears where you know you should still be doing them, and for some reason you're not. You know that they benefit you, but somehow you're just not. So it's that gap that I really want to get into. I think we all do it, and we probably, I mean, please tell me if you don't. I'm sure we all do it somewhere in our lives, right? It's just totally human behavior. And it can be another thing. So I've talked about exercise, whether you include gym or what have you in that. It can be feeding ourselves, what we feed ourselves, when, how often, regularly. And it can show up in sleep as well. Like, we want to sleep well. Sometimes it doesn't happen for a whole plethora of reasons. So this gap is a little bit layered. So sometimes, oh, I didn't bring a glass of water. Hang on. Sometimes the gap is, it's practical. It could be confusion. It could be unsure. It could be a knowledge gap. So, for instance, one of my clients who wants to walk the half marathon, she wants to do it socially. She wants to be fit enough that she can enjoy it and not be that person that goes around, oh, it's really hard and everyone has to run around after you. That the weakest person in the group. No, no one wants that. Get that. So she's training, she's going to prepare herself. So she spoke to me. And for her, it was as simple as, okay, right, this is the practical plan. So we're 6 months out or 4 months out, we might have been. So let's aim to we'll kick off with something manageable. You're going to do 3 miles this month, 7 miles the next, whatever we came up with the last month that she had to hit like a 11 mile walk, because then that the last miles you'll just find on the day because you just do. So that was like just knowledge and a plan that she just needed to have, and she's on a path and she's off. We're a couple of months in. It's been going well so far. We've still got another couple of months to go, so maybe something will fall, the wheels will fall off somewhere, but so far they haven't. So that was just some information that she needed. I wanted to get back into running. I can't say I've done it successfully, but I knew that I needed to buy a new pair of trainers. So I bought a new pair of trainers. Sometimes you need to just buy the membership, or you just need to pay to go on a 2-day training course to learn how to stand up paddleboard. And then you can just go and get on your board and do it yourself. Sometimes there's just a piece of information that is just missing, or equipment that we don't have, and we just go and we get it, and that's it. The gap is solved. Boom, done. Nice and easy. But often it's not. Life isn't as simple as that, is it? Sorry, I'm just a bit hot. That's the only reason I'm fussing. Because sometimes there are these stories that we tell ourselves. Oh, well, I can't because, and last time I did that, this happened. Now, I'm saying this in a mimicking kind of way and lightheartedly, but they're real, and I'm saying them in a taking the piss fashion because I'm trying to keep it lighthearted, but it's true. We all do it. My 35 kilo snatch that I want to get, why haven't I got it? Oh, well, I haven't really been that consistent, and my technique probably isn't quite good enough, and having the 10 kilo plates on it is a big deal. It is quite an achievement. It does take people a while to get to it. So, it's probably going to take me even longer because, I'm more behind than everybody else. And you've probably got it about your own thing. What were the other examples I gave? So, let's go with the walking a marathon one again. So you start on a training program, right? You're enthusiastic. And then some excuses can start coming up like, oh, I haven't really got time. And, well, I know I can do this much, and it's not going to be that hard, is it? And everyone can walk. So do I really need to do it? Is it really that big a deal? Just these little stories that we just start to tell ourselves. I've always told myself that I'm terrible at ball sports, right? My dad and my brother have taken the mickey out of me for years, and I've shared this story 100 times. So for me, I'll always say, oh no, rounders, no, can't play. There's no point. Can't hit a ball. Tennis, no, can't play. That's not for me. Can't do it. Can't hit a ball. Netball, no, can't do that. Can't take part in that. It's not for me. Can't catch a ball. Can't throw. Terrible player. Can't do it. And I've done some thoughtful work on myself to be able to recognize some of these stories that I tell myself. And so I guess for you, in my light-hearted examples, is there anything springing to mind for you that might be, oh yeah, she's right, actually. God, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, she's right, actually, I do actually say this or I say that. And at this point, we're not trying to judge ourselves too harshly and add to the pile of negative feedback that we likely give ourselves. Is just to acknowledge it, like, oh, is that story real, or is there some practical information that I need that's going to help me see through on that? So for me, it was, okay, I'm not very good with a racket and a tennis ball. I've never been very good at that. Can I go and play? Can I persevere a few times? Can I put myself out there and try and practice? And then it's like, oh, okay, so that's the thing that I need to stop the story, and then I can go and do it and try it. Just for the full disclosure, I did try it, and the person who was helping me said, nah, Rach, stop. This isn't for you. Anyway, I did proceed to go on and teach a ball drills class at working with people with MS. So actually, I had some ball skills enough to do that. But I digress. So this next thing that I'm going to say is can be a little bit uncomfortable to hear, and I have had uncomfortable moments where I've realised these things myself. Sometimes there is a hidden benefit to the story that we tell ourselves. So if I take the tennis story on myself, so I say, oh, do you know what? I can't, it's not for me. There's a bit of a paradox that goes on, because I then also, it kind of sounds like, oh, woe is me, I can't do it. But what it allows me is that I then don't have to try any racket sports. And it's kind of a hidden benefit, isn't it? Because I don't ever have to try something new in that regard. And I get to stay where I am with my, oh, but I'm no good at ball sports. I don't have to put myself out there and try playing tennis, because I've got this excuse. I've got this reason. I've got this story that I tell myself. So if a charity match ever came up, I could easily just, oh no, I'm terrible at that. Rather than put myself out there and just have a go just for the fun of it, except that I might only play one game, but I'd be involved in the whole event and maybe make new friends and whatever else I might get from it. So another example I have here that's a bit more thought out than the one that I've just given you is, I don't know about you, but sometimes I look at someone who, and this might sound funny coming from me, I look at other people who have really active lives. They get to be on surfboards at the weekend, or they ride in the Surrey Hills, or they walk the dog every day. And you might look at those people sometimes and think, oh gosh, I wish I was more active. Especially if you've had a couple of days indoors, not much going on, blah, blah. And you kind of in your head, you go, God, I wish I was more active, because look at them. They look lean and they can do anything, and aren't they amazing? I wish I was more like that. But also, by me not being like that, I don't have to clean the mountain bike or wash the clothes that have got dirty. I don't have to get up that extra hour early to be out before everyone else and miss the traffic. Or that's when everybody else goes, so that's when I have to go. I don't have to be part of a club and mix with other people. I can just stay at home and I can just watch telly. So I hope my examples have given you this clear idea of sometimes we want something, or we think we want something, and we are where we are, but we want this thing. But in order to get there, we probably have to go through some sort of discomfort, big or small, depending on what the thing is that we want. And so rather than spend our time here being like, oh, I wish I was doing that, what's the story? Why aren't we doing it? What do we need? Is it just a practical thing? Is it just an instruction manual we need? Is it a bit of confidence or encouragement or a sense of purpose about the thing? What are we missing? And it's not to judge or sit behind that story. It's just to acknowledge it. Because once you go, oh shit, yeah, I've been telling myself that. Yeah, of course. So when my friend said to me, do you want to go and practice paddle, which is that new tennis game? We haven't actually gone, but I said to her, yes. Yes, I did say, my skill level is appalling, blah, 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 but I will come, I will give it a go. Da, da, da. So it's just acknowledging, what do I need in order to allow myself to move forward? To acknowledge the story means that there's less shame and you take some of the sort of strength of the story away. And I'm kind of moving, yeah. And also remember that stories can change. In literature, is it right that there are something like, there's only 7 versions of a story, really, when you get back to the nuts and bolts of it? And yet they're all reiterated. They're all not reiterated. They're all have many iterations and versions of them. Like, I don't know why this fact has come into mind, but the film 10 Things I Hate About You was based on the story Taming of the Shrew. And Pretty Woman was, I don't know if it actually was, but for me, it looks like it was based on My Fair Lady. There are many ways that the stories can change. So whatever story it is that we have about ourselves, maybe the story of me not being very good at ball sports is, probably I'm still consider myself not very good, but maybe I'm someone who can play for fun and doesn't take it seriously and isn't trying to win and isn't trying to be the best that she can be. And she wants to play with other people of the same notion who are just messing about hitting a tennis ball across a net. And yes, that might bother some people who are really good at tennis, but it shouldn't bother me, And on the screen there, I've got this saying, well, rather than saying I am, you can say a part of me. And this allows, the reason I phrase this is because this allows a story to change. And my mindset coach, Eileen McCotter-Davies, who set up the Holistic Coaching School, she uses this all the time. And my personal experience of it has been reinforced to me so many times. I've heard it so often, but it really does make a difference. So rather than me saying, I am terrible at ball sports, or I can't run a business, or I've never been taught how to cook, so I can't, or any of the things. Sometimes you hear people say, I procrastinate, I'm lazy. That's sometimes what I hear from people. So there's always someone, I'm always late. When we say it's really definite and it's really personal and it's all about me. but we're complex human beings. There are lots of parts of us. We have, if you're a mum, you have your mum, your mum to your children. There's that part of you. There's the part of you that is friends with your friends. If you're into sport like I am, there's the part of me that goes to the CrossFit gym. There's a part of me that goes to work. There's also a part of me when I was 2, when I was 10, when I was 21. We are humans and we have massively layered experiences in life. Just going to rein myself back in. So what we can say is a part of me feels like I'm lazy. A part of me feels like I'm bad at ball sports and can't participate. Because when we say a part of me, we allow another part of us to exist and for that other part to have a voice. So a part of me feels like I can't play tennis, and a part of me feels gutted about that and wishes that I could, wishes that I was better at it. And part of me is okay with just doing it for fun whenever the opportunity arises. So by saying a part of me, I've enabled the story to change somewhat. And I've also been able to acknowledge another part of myself. Because when someone says, oh, I'm lazy, I'm sure they're not lazy. Like, when are we lazy? Like, we get up in the morning, we go to work, we hang out with our friends, we, read a book, or we show up for our children or show up for our family in some way. There's lots of things that we actually probably do. And by saying, oh, I'm lazy, we kind of discredit some of the good stuff that we actually do. So by giving yourself the freedom to say a part of me thinks this, it allows something else as well. Like, there can be two truths. Like in an emotional situation, you can be annoyed with your mum for taking over and sorting out a situation for you, and you can be grateful to her for doing that. So allowing two things to be true is also really important. So yeah, if ever you find yourself saying, I am, hear it and then just say, a part of me is, or thinks, whatever, feels, and see how that feels in your body, see how that lands, how do you hear it, what changes about the situation that you're looking at to make it hopefully a bit easier, clearer. So I just wanted to share, I guess, that reframe with you today. And I don't know how you'll need it or where it will be useful. But if it is, great. I'd love to hear about where it is useful. I'd love to hear what you think about what I said. And if it does help you. And I talk about this stuff a lot because exercise is important, but also the kind of the mindset stuff that goes with it is also important. So I will just take this opportunity to say that I run an online class where we exercise, and then we kind of, maybe not as deep because we only have 15 minutes, but we kind of talk about the things around exercise that just keep us motivated, keep us inspired, keep us going, really. So if you want to know any more, and then my last slide is any questions, but I'm trying to see if there are any questions, quite honestly. And so bear with me. There aren't. That is absolutely okay. I am not put off, offended in any way. But anyway, if today was useful in any way, I'm glad. And if it wasn't, well, really, have you lost anything? So yeah, that was me talking about I'm busy and how to reframe it. Whether we want to reframe it, because it might be serving us in some way to be busy. And I hope you have a really lovely afternoon, whatever you've got planned.